Ladies and gentlemen, just what you always wanted, another podcast. This one's going to be good, I think, though. My name is Tony Burns, and this show is called As the Sports World Burns. You saw what I did there. I know what you're saying. Another podcast is just what I need, another sports podcast. What makes mine different? Well, we're going to, this podcast is going to include some local stuff out of South Arkansas. I'm based out of Eldred, Arkansas. I've been a sports writer for a newspaper for over 30 years, covering mainly local high school sports. What makes this one different is I think I have a unique perspective. I have, in my mid-50s, I like to say I have an old school wisdom with a new school perspective. I hope so. Some of the topics we're going to talk about, we'll talk a little bit about South Arkansas sports, high school sports, a little bit about the Razorbacks, a little bit about some national stuff. We'll mix and match. I think we'll have some fun. Maybe. Hopefully I won't make too many people angry, but it's okay to get angry every once in a while. It's okay to laugh every once in a while. Okay to cry every once in a while. I think I'll make anybody cry, but we'll see. The day's young. This is my first podcast, and I'd like to talk about high school, but honestly, there's no high school going on right now. The high school football season starts Friday. This is, as we speak, this is 2:24, Tuesday morning. Yeah, I'm the one that's still up. And so I don't really want to talk about high school right now until I actually get started. There's high school golf and tennis, but I haven't actually seen any of it, so I'll leave that alone. I was really into the Olympics. Unfortunately, that was a couple of weeks ago. I don't want to do a whole lot of old stuff. Well, actually, you know what? One thing that happened in the Olympics was the whole Simone Biles thing with the gymnastics. I'm sure you've heard about it by now. She wasn't able to perform, and she cited mental illness as a reason. I believe, and I'm not a gymnast, so I'm just going by what I heard. She tried to do a vault, got in the air, and didn't land it properly, and she told her teammates or coaches that while she was in the air, she lost track of how many rotations she had done. Basically, she didn't know where she was while she was in the air. It's kind of dangerous. Gymnastics is a very, very dangerous sport. And so when she pulled out, she said she didn't know where she was in the air, and she said, I don't want to perform, I can't perform. I understood it. It made sense to me. And I've heard people say she should have sucked it up. You know, do it for the team, and all this other stuff. And the thing is, gymnastics, you don't do that in gymnastics. She's in the air, she's flipping, doing flips and twists, and she's upside down, and she doesn't know where the floor is, basically is what she's saying. They call it the yips or the flipsies or something. And so you don't suck it up in that sport. This is not a football player fighting through, an arm injury, or this is not Kobe Bryant going back on the court and shooting a free throw with a torn Achilles. Rest in peace. Kobe was not going to further injure himself by shooting that free throw. And don't get me wrong, it was amazing. I couldn't have shot a free throw with a torn Achilles, but still. It's not the same as this young lady trying to do flips in the air and not knowing where she was while she was in the air, not knowing her body, just losing the sight of the floor and not feeling it. This in that situation, she could land on her head, break her neck, become paralyzed, or maybe even die. So, yeah, I say pulling myself out of that competition was the smart thing to do. And so anybody who says she should have sucked it up and gave it a shot, I don't want to be rude, but you're an idiot. Just, stick to cornhole, my friend, because you don't know what you're talking about. Asking her to go out there and suck it up would have been the same as asking a NASCAR driver who had bouts of blurry vision or bouts of blindness to go out there and race, drive a car 200 miles an hour when his vision could go away at any time. You wouldn't do that. You say, if a NASCAR driver said, I'm having trouble seeing, you say, well, get the hell out of the car. Okay. And so, but my problem with that is, I'm not sure if it's mental illness though. Golfers, what do you call it? The golfers have the yips when they forget how to swing or whatever. I know there's a baseball player a second baseman who all of a sudden he played second base his whole life, and all of a sudden he couldn't make a throw to first base. In basketball, Markelle Fultz, an NBA player drafted number 1 pick by the 76ers, he's the number 1 pick in the draft. He forgot how to shoot a jump shot. Okay, it's are these mental health things? They're mental for sure. I'm not sure. Mental health. I looked it up. Mental health condition is conditions that affects your mood, thinking, and behavior. Some examples are depression, anxiety disorder, schizophrenic, eating disorders, addictive behavior. I guess having the yips or the flipsies or whatever, they're mental. Is it mental illness? I don't know. I'm not an expert. I guess it's a form of it. I just think it sounds like, and I'm not an expert, it just sounds like, it's something that came from pressure. It's pressure. It builds up in your head, becomes a mental block. My biggest problem with the whole thing was, and I think Simone Biles is great. She's the greatest of all time, the greatest gymnast. She's doing things. She's won world championships. She's won championships through injuries. I think she won a world championship with painful gallstones. So, questioning her toughness, questioning her competitiveness is ridiculous. But some people are calling her a hero. She said what she did was heroic. I'm not going to go that far. I can't give her all that. What she did was smart. It was thoughtful for her teammates also. Pulling herself out. If she goes out there and falls while she's a member of the team, then it's going to drag the whole team down. And so, I'm not sure if that was the first and foremost thing on her mind, but, it was smart to pull out of it for herself and her team's sake, her teammates' sake. Was it heroic? Yeah. If that was heroic, if what she did was heroic, then what would you call when someone rushes into a burning building and rescues a child? If Simone Biles is heroic, then what do you call those people? Okay, what do you call the soldier who jumps on a grenade and saves his entire platoon? Yeah. You know what I'm saying? I don't really think they belong in the same category as what Simone Biles did. Okay, Simone Biles is an athlete, a great athlete. Athletes can be courageous. They can be strong and they're not heroes. No. We throw these words around so easily, hero and greatest of all time, and we should really put some of these words in our pocket and just save them. Let's say hero, call somebody a hero for someone who actually does something seriously heroic. They sacrifice themselves to save someone else's life. Okay. Scoring a touchdown doesn't make you a hero. It makes you a great athlete. It doesn't make you a hero. Okay. Got a little off track there. But the whole, and I don't, like I said, I'm not, I was a month ago, so I don't know, I've already talked about it way more than I should have, but I want to talk about the whole mental illness thing. It's tough. I would hate to be a coach these days. In the old days, back in my day, when I used to walk uphill to school both ways and all that, coaches used to push you to do things you didn't think you could do. Physically, mentally, whatever. They would just, you can do it, you got to do it, And you do it. And I did things I didn't think I could do. I was in the military in basic training. I did a lot of stuff. A lot of stuff I never would have thought I could do because they made me do it. What do you do with mental illness now? As a coach, as someone who's trying to get the most out of a young person. If you're trying to implore one of your athletes to fight through it, and they say, "I coach, I'm having mental illness issues." In my day, you get hit upside the head, and they say, "Have you lost your mind, son? Get out there." You can't do that anymore. It's times have changed. We've evolved in a lot of ways. Some people say we're not as tough. I lean toward that a lot. But in the case of this mental illness stuff, that's tricky. That's scary. That's confusing a little bit. I know in this area, in South Arkansas, El Dorado, Arkansas, Union County, the last couple of years, we've had some young people, young athletes, and young people in general who have, unfortunately, harmed themselves. Just taking their own lives. And so it's tragic. And I'm not sure, I personally don't know the reasons behind any of them. I don't know if their families do. But, so, if I hear a kid say, I don't want to go in the game, I don't want to, we're in overtime, and I got to send a kid out to make the game-winning field goal, and he looks at me and says, "Coach, I'm scared. I don't think I can mentally do this. I'm having mental illness problems. I can't make this kick. I don't want to go out there and attempt this kick." Do you push him out there anyway now? You know what I mean? Do you push him out there and say, "No, you got to do it. Fight through it"? And then he goes out there and he misses the kick. And then the next day, he does something. He told you beforehand he wasn't mentally capable. You see where I'm going? You got to be careful now. You have to be careful. It's scary. There's a different type of pressure that young people are under that we didn't have when I was growing up. We just didn't. I never thought of, doing harm to myself or it was never that serious for me. It was a game. I played football. I played basketball, ran track, and I wasn't great at any of them. I did the best I could. It was fun. At some point, to some people, it's changed, and you have to. I'm glad I'm not a coach. I'm glad I'm not in that position to have to make those judgments now. In the old days, physical injuries, physical illness, or whatever. You can look at a kid and say, "Hey, it's just your ankle. Just limp it. Go ahead and keep playing or whatever." Mental's different now. You can't see it. You have to take somebody's word for it. And you can encourage them. You can urge them. But if you're wrong and you make a kid do something that they told you ahead of time they can't do, the consequences That's not something I would want to have to wrestle with. I think it's going to be up to the parents and the athlete themselves to push themselves through adversity. At least it would be for me. Coaches, you still have to get the most out of your kids. You still have to push them. Teachers also, but you have to be extra careful now. You can't push too far. This mental illness thing, I don't understand it, but I know I wouldn't mess with it. And you obviously you'll have some people who will just be tired and they'll just cite it. Coach, I'm having mental illness problems. End of the day, I mean, they're just hurting themselves, and that's the type of kid that wasn't going to amount to much anyway. So, but I don't know. I don't really have a solution for it. I just know it's scary. It's something that you have to take very seriously, especially where I'm from. This area, we don't want to see any more of what we've seen over the past couple of years. It's tragic. Young people taking their own lives for whatever reason. It's just, and there's never a reason for that, and we need to figure out what we can do to help these people, help these kids, help these parents. In the meantime, coaches, parents, listen. Mental illness is not a joke, and I know you're thinking, well, he's probably faking it. They're all faking it. Some of them are faking it. The problem is, what if you push a kid and the kid is not faking it? Thank you for your time, as you were.